Samaritans here. We could get started in 10 seconds if you're ready. Should we do the countdown here?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to turn my video off when I do the script, okay?
Councillor Grimes, you may begin.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Councillor Mark Grimes. I'm the chair of Etobicoke York Community Council. The clerk has confirmed that we have a quorum, so I will call meeting 19 to order. Welcome, everyone. I especially want to welcome Nancy Martins. Nancy's our new council administrator, so let's make her feel at home here in the Wild West. She has worked with a variety of committees over the past 7 years, and she still works with Planning and Housing Committee. So Nancy, you've been absolutely fantastic so far, and I'm looking forward to working with you. I know the rest of the this committee also agrees with me. So welcome aboard. We look forward to working with you. Today's meeting is being held by video conference. City staff are also connecting to the meeting by video conference. As City Hall remains closed, the public will continue to participate electronically and can watch the meeting streaming live on YouTube at youtube.com/Toronto City Council Live. Ask everyone for their patience with any delays and technical issues, which we've had some this morning. The clerk staff have connected all registered speakers to the meeting by audio. The list of speakers can be viewed online by visiting the Etobicoke York Community Council page at toronto.ca/council and clicking the speakers box for today's meeting. Clerk's IT staff will also be available to assist members with their devices. I would like to remind staff to keep their mics muted and their videos turned off unless they need to answer questions or speak to the committee. This will make it easier for me as chair and those watching on YouTube to observe members as they participate in the debate and vote on items. Members, please keep your mic muted unless you wish to question staff or speak to an item, and ensure your video is turned on. As part of each agenda item, I'll ask members to raise their hands or to unmute their mic if they wish to question staff or speak. I'll then create a speakers list and we can call on members when it's their turn to speak. When voting on an item or motion, I ask that members ensure they turn on their video and to raise their hand and indicate their vote. Members want to remind you that we still must submit and approve your motions by email. Staff are available at etcc@toronto.ca to help with your motions. Are there any declarations of interest on the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? If you do have an interest, please raise your hand or unmute your mic and indicate the item number and nature of the interest. Seeing none, may I have a motion to confirm the minutes from the last meeting on October 8, 2020? Moved by Councillor Nunziata. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Are there any petitions at the time? Seeing none? Thank you. We can now go through the items. You good, Nancy?
Yes.
Okay. 19.1, 689, the Queensway zoning bylaw amendment application, final report. We have speakers. We'll hold that down. 19.2, 1455 Roy York Road zoning bylaw amendment application. We have speakers. 19.3, 315 and 327 Roy York Road zoning bylaw amendment application status report. I'd like to hold that down in my name. 19.4, intention to designate under Part 1B, Section 29 of the Ontario Heritage Act and authority to enter into a heritage easement agreement, 165 Stanley Avenue. Councillor Ford, can you move that on my behalf, please?
Happy to move, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Ford moves the staff recommendation. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 19.5, payment in lieu of parking, number 1 Blue Goose Street. I'd like to ask Councillor Ford to move that recommendation for me.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Ford moves the staff recommendations. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 19.6, payment in lieu of parking, 2862 Lakeshore Boulevard West. Councillor Ford.
Yep, so moved.
Councillor Ford moves the staff recommendations. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. One-way street designation, 19.7, Market Garden Mews. I'd like to hold that down. 19.8, traffic calming, Church Street between Elm Street and Pine Street. I'm sorry, is that you, Councillor Nunziata?
Yes, it is. I'll move the recommendation.
Councillor Nunziata moves the recommendations. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 19.9, traffic control signals, the East Mall and Gibbs Road. Councillor, Deputy Mayor Holiday.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Thank you. We'll move the staff recommendations. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Holiday moves the staff recs. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. 19.10, parking and traffic regulation amendments, Long Branch Avenue and Eastwood Park Gardens. I'd like to hold that down. 1911, parking amendments, Trandage Crescent between Arcot Boulevard and Bing Avenue. Councillor Nunziata?
Nope, I think that's mine, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, Councillor Ford.
No
Three
problem.
screens
I'll
left.
move staff recommendations.
Councillor Ford moves the staff recs. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. So with that, we're ready to go to our first item.
I have a late start there, Mr. Chair.
Sorry?
Late starter on the list there, Chair. I don't know if you're interested in moving it
Oh, I'm sorry.
or introducing it to the agenda. It's 19.12.
Could you just read that out for me, Councillor Holiday?
Of course. So it's a late starter on the list. It's EY 19.12, area review of area bounded by Rathburn Road, the East Mall, Burnhamthorpe Road, and Martin Grove Road. And essentially, it's a request for transportation to do a study.
Okay, so we need a motion to add that to agenda. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councillor Holiday, would like to, does anybody want to hold that down? Everyone good with the recommendations before us? If not, Councillor Holiday, you want to move your staff recommendations?
So moved, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Sorry?
Yep, so moved.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Holiday. We'll now go back to our first item, 19.1, 69 the Queensway zoning bylaw amendment application, final report. We have speakers. We have the speaker on the line.
Good morning, members of committee, councillors. My name is Emily Reeson. I'm a planner and a partner with Urban Strategies, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I believe that I had sent through some visual materials to walk you through this morning, and so I'll indicate page numbers of the PDF as we go. I am pleased to be here this morning in support of the staff recommendations to approve this item. 689 the Queensway, dubbed RENA by the developers, will be a great addition to the Queensway community. And as you may have seen in the press in recent months, it has also been a great initiative to highlight women in the development industry, as this project has been brought to life by women across all disciplines, starting with the development leads at Urban Capital and Spotlight, down to the designers, engineers, and planners included, and many others. Going to the next page. To orient you, the site is on the south side of the Queensway, just east of Royal York. It's a fairly large site, and it's located right beside St. Louis Catholic Elementary School. It's designated as an avenue in the official plan, also carries a mixed-use designation, and so it's a great place for intensification of the avenue, consistent with the avenue zoning. Page 3, just a little bit about the proposal. This is a mid-rise building that's been designed by Quadrangle Architects. It presents as an 8-story building with a mechanical penthouse. But here, the rear side of the mechanical penthouse to the south has been designed with pop-up spaces associated with the 8th floor units to provide access to their terraces. It provides 198 units to this stretch of the Queensway, and in my opinion is consistent with provincial planning policy and the official plan, and will be a welcome addition to reurbanization of the Queensway. On page 4, you can see that this is a mixed-use building with lovely designed retail at grade. The stepping down at the rear provides a transition to the neighborhoods to the south. And importantly, this building is proposed to provide a range of unit types and other features. Going to page 5, in this site plan view, you can see how the proposal is enhancing the public realm, both for the public and providing open space for future residents. Boulevard tree planting will be provided on all sides of the building on Queensway, Wesley, and Penhurst. And the orientation of this U-shaped building will provide a lovely 597 square meter outdoor south-facing courtyard for residents. And that courtyard is directly linked through to the lobby space to provide a view straight through to the green space from the Queensway, as well as to some of the amenity spaces on the ground floor of the building. Interestingly and uniquely to this project, we've also provided a community walkway at the south edge of the property to allow members of the neighborhood to the south to walk safely across the property as they try to reach the school to the west or other amenities in the neighborhood. Going to page 6, this building also contains a wide range of very interesting family-friendly features. It includes stroller parking on nearly every floor, which will be a great benefit to parents who are dealing with that important mobility item in those key stages of life. As you may have seen from some of the other renderings, there are very deep terraces that allow families to gather, to eat and spend time outside. I've already mentioned that community walkway at the rear. There is a kids' playroom and other amenities, and as you can see from this rendering, if you just look to the left of the photo, you can see a person doing yoga just through that circular opening, and that's been specifically designed to allow parents to be able to have some of their workout space while keeping an eye on their kids in the adjacent space. As I mentioned, there's a range of units in this building, including 92 bedroom units and 23 bedroom units, including innovative, what we're calling in-law suites, which are grade-related units that have a lock-off door in the inside that can provide a separate living area within the unit for an older parent or an older family member that's come back to stay or perhaps support within the house. Many innovative ideas have come forward through this building. The plan on page 7 also shows you that many of the innovative amenity areas that are being included as a result of an extensive process that the development team undertook with many in the community, including outreach to students at design schools and the Girl Guides of Canada. And finally, I want to thank staff for their collaborative approach to working with us on this process, and also want to congratulate them for fielding an all-female team to support the development application through the process. So in summary, I support staff's recommendation to approve this project, and I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Are there any questions of the deputy?
Mr. Chair, I had one quick one, actually. I was,
Okay.
thank you for the presentation.
Deputy Mayor Holiday, then Councillor Nunziata.
Yep. Could you explain what the pop-ups are on the 9th floor? It wasn't clear from the drawings, and I do have your presentation because it was submitted as correspondence with this, so I can flip to a slide if you need me to, but I wanted to understand the concept a little bit better.
Sure. I mean, you can think of it simply as a small second-story space. Actually, I think the final slide, number 8, might provide the best view. The very top left of that slide, you can see there's some windows. They kind of are at the corner spaces in this rendering.
Yes.
And that would be a small area of the 9th floor that is accessed via stairs from a unit which has its front door on the 8th floor. And basically it allows for residents of that unit to go upstairs. There's a small landing area and then access to an outdoor terrace on that upper level. And it's fully behind the mechanical penthouse.
Right. So how much of the floor is a mechanical penthouse? 50%, 10%, just roughly.
Sure, I have that. Just let me pull up my documentation on my computer here. Forgive me. In these new ways of working. The pop-up has about 47% of that mass is the mechanical penthouse, and so just the other side of that, the 53 is pop-up space associated with the 8th floor units.
Okay, that's helpful. And so, what is it? So, how many 8th floor units lead up to the pop-up spaces? And is it like a room up there? Is it a bedroom? What's it? I'm just curious.
Sure, absolutely. It's not a bedroom. It's I guess additional common space to those units. I'm just flipping through the additional materials that I have at my fingertips. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units that have access to that pop-up space.
Okay. And so they would be like a little upstairs room, and then I'm assuming that walks out onto a terrace.
Exactly, you're correct.
Okay, and is the whole roof deck of the 8th floor a terrace all the way around?
The southern portion, sir, the northern
southern.
portion that overlooks the Queensway is not accessible to the residents.
Great, thank you very,
Spaces.
I thank you very much for explaining that to me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Councillor Nunziata, a question.
Yes, just one question. I've never heard this before, but you mentioned stroller parking. So what is stroller parking?
Oh, this is a great one.
I've never seen that before.
I also had the pleasure of working for you in developing the Growing Up guidelines several years ago. And one of the fabulous learnings from that exercise was that in smaller condominium or apartment spaces, parents are struggling to figure out where to put the stroller when it's not in use. And you may be familiar with an image from our research that became pretty widely known of some parents resorting to putting the stroller in the bathtub in the evening just to get it out of the way. And so the idea of having a place where you can store these bulky items outside the unit, but that are so important for the daily needs of families at those stages of life, without it taking up space in the unit itself. It's basically using interior space that wouldn't be ideal for unit space on each floor, where residents can go to leave the stroller at night and have access to it during the day as they need it.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you. No further questions, Deputy. Thank you very much, Emily. Are there any questions of staff? Councillor Nunziata, questions of staff.
Yeah, just one question to staff. I'm reading the comments from the school boards, the public and the Catholic board. It's very unusual. I know in the past, school boards haven't commented at all, but both school boards are commenting that there is sufficient space at the local schools, correct? Which is kind of unusual.
Through you, Chair, both the school boards have provided those comments, and they both indicated that they were satisfied with that.
Yeah, well, which is good, because in the past, usually the school boards haven't commented on development applications. So I'm glad to see that they are commenting now on development applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nunziata. No further questions of staff. I'll go to speakers. Any speakers? I will speak. And I have an amendment. If Nancy can throw that on the screen, so it'll housekeeping item. Amend recommendation 4.1 by deleting Queensway Park Trail, replacing the Grand Avenue Park and Mimico Creek Trail. So that reads, 412,000 for approved local parks and trails located in Ward 3, including but not limited to Grand Avenue Park and Mimico Trail Park. With that, this development has been a fantastic. All women teams come forward to the consultants. We heard Emily today, and I want to thank my former colleague, Councillor DeChano. This is for my colleagues, not just the also Lancaster site. So people are anxious to get that out there. Councillor DeChano ran on that last term, getting rid of it. It is gone. We've seen a few applicants come in prior to this team here with towers of close to 20 stories that would not be supported. So we saw a townhouse development came in, and that didn't go through. But this all-female team has done a fantastic job bringing it forward. The public meetings, I think, were pretty well received by most of the community. I think it's going to be a great addition to the Queensway. I think it's regional development, and with that, I ask your support. And also, just like on the all-female team, just as you saw the stroller parking, I think that's the female class we see there in this development. So it's been great to have that. I think it's the first of its kind. I know in our city, and I think probably in our country, but it's great to see this all-female team bring this forward, and I'm happy to move the recommendations with my amendment. So on my amendment, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item is amended. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Moving right along. Bear with me. 19.2. Screen's frozen. 1455 Roy Ark Road, zoning bylaw amendment application, preliminary report. We have a speaker. We put the speaker on the list there.
Mr. Chair, we have Tyler Peck on the line. If he could please speak up.
Tyler, are you there?
Good morning, Community Council. Thank you.
Good morning, and you have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thanks. My name is Tyler Peck. I'm with W&D Associates with the applicants on behalf of Sunrise Senior Living. I only registered to speak in order to answer any questions that members of the public or council may have, but I see there are no other registered speakers. I just want to confirm our desire to proceed with the Deputy Mayor's Office and City Planning towards a Community Council meeting for this zoning bylaw amendment application for a 4-story assisted living and memory care building on Royal York Road. We are working with staff to address the comments received to date, and I'll just make myself available for any questions should there be any. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the deputy?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'll ask a quick one, if that's okay.
Yep, go ahead. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to us, Tyler. As you would imagine, once the sign goes up, I've started to receive some curious inquiries about what the future of this site was going to be. I think it was an old gas station, which fronts a whole bunch of houses, single detached homes in a pretty quiet neighborhood. I wondered if you could comment or let Community Council know what the site is currently zoned for. And so what is it exactly that you're asking of Council once this application proceeds?
Sure. The site contains a current local commercial zone that's site-specific and limited to the former automobile service station on the site. So we are asking for a rezoning of the site to a residential zone which permits the assisted living and memory care facility that we're proposing at 4 stories, which is consistent with the neighborhood's policies of the official plan.
Thank you. And to satisfy folks' curiosity, do you have an information point that people can go to beyond just the city's website, which is great, but it is a little more technical in nature? I think there'll be a mix of people that will be interested in the proposal, and also just in the mix would be people interested in the business aspect because they might want to move here. And can you tell us where we can send people that may ask about it?
Absolutely. I understand from my clients that they are planning to proceed with a development sign on the site, which will provide either a website or an email for more information. And what I'll do, Councillor, is endeavor to get that information to your office as soon as possible so that you can provide that to your constituents who may have comments on the application.
And the last question is, just given that it literally fronts people's front doors and driveways and so on, because they're single houses and there's not flank, but it's across the street from people. Have I got your commitment to continue to work on the site plan and the generally the local concerns of folks that are going to have to live with this as their immediate across the street or next door neighbor?
Of course, we've designed the site with an appropriate setback and frontage and entrance onto Royal York, as would be expected of a major street. A driveway area off of Chapman Road, providing access to the site, similar to the driveways on the north side of Chapman Road, and then generous setbacks in the courtyard area on the east side of the site facing Renault Crescent. And we'll continue to work with staff regarding matters of urban design and driveway design. In fact, we've got a workshop set up with them this week to address those matters.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Holiday. Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Tyler. Questions of staff? Seeing none, Deputy Mayor Holiday to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to move the staff recommendations, which is the preliminary report.
Thank you. Councillor Holiday has moved the staff recommendations. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, moving right along, we have 19.3, 315 and 327 Royal Road zoning bylaw application status report. It's a status report, and I've held the item. Any questions of staff? Seeing none, I have a few. Mr. Cresswell, are you there?
Yes, Councillor Grimes, I'm here.
Good morning, Mr. Cresswell. This is the first TOD transit-oriented development in Toronto. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Councillor.
What is a TOD?
Basically, it's an initiative by the province to create better opportunities for intensification around transit stations and to realize the value of the lands that the province and the city hold around those facilities, and to get into agreements with the private market to take advantage of the public lands around the transit stations.
Great. So this being the first TOD, I know myself, and I know your answer to this, but we want to be seen as working with the province and make this one work to be a model for the rest. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Right. So it's been hard to get this developer to the table. Do you think there? How many issues are out there are resolved, and can you summarize the main issues?
There are a number of issues that have yet to be resolved that we speak to in the staff report, Councillor. There's the fact that they're asking for 2 towers on the site where 1 tower was previously proposed, which is a bit of a challenge. There are shadowing impacts on the neighborhoods that surround this. The immediate property to the north is a designated cemetery facility. It also creates challenges in terms of access as currently designed to the GO station facility itself. Then there's the issue of its location, which is adjacent to the Mimico Judson secondary plan area, and in particular 39 Newcastle Street, which was approved at the LPAT. When this proposal was brought forward, it was brought forward in absentia of a consideration of where it sat and its relationship to these other facilities. So what we have outlined in the staff report is we have some challenges with the proposal as it's currently designed in a number of regards. But what we've also outlined in the staff report, which is the hopeful message of the staff report, is that we put forward some notions to both Metrolinx and Van Dyke, who are the property owners of all the lands south of Newcastle Street, to take a coordinated view of all of the lands so that we could basically come up with a proposal that opens up the vistas and overcomes the safety issues created by the application, and to take a more holistic view. And to their credit, Van Dyke has come to the table with a proposal. There are still some things we need to work on, and that's ultimately the message from the staff report that staff would like to say. There are challenges with the application as proposed. There's no doubt about it. But there's a lot of hope moving forward with the context plan, and that's what we want to focus on, is moving forward through the context plan.
Thank you. So, when you say access to the site, so this is going to be a pretty busy area once everything gets built out. So people, walking, there's a lot of walking traffic, people coming in cars, drop off. So when you're saying access to the site, there's major problems with how people would travel through that site as a pedestrian, and also people coming in, dropping off, picking up. That's what we're talking about?
Yes, that's quite correct, Councillor. Again, as currently designed, there's a couple of driveways that are proposed with the proposal that's in front of us. There are a couple of driveways that are proposed on the other side through 39, as well as an access road by Metrolinx. And our position was, if you coordinate and consolidate them, you get away from a lot of those concerns, and it gives you an opportunity to actually move some of the GO facilities around as well, to open it up and allow a lot better relationship for pedestrians, cyclists. It allows a better location of the greenway through the secondary plan. There's a lot of big benefits through that.
So, Neil, do you think these issues could be addressed by working together with Metrolinx and Van Dyke?
We certainly very hopeful, Councillor. Yes, that's our intention.
Great, thank you. How many new parking spaces are being proposed for Mimico GO station users? How many are going to be lost? So how many are proposed at this point in time?
Oh, that number I don't have at the top of my head, Councillor. Sabrina Salatino, who is the planner on the file, may be able to jump in and provide those numbers. Sabrina, would you have those at your fingertip?
Sabrina, you there?
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, Sabrina, how many new parking spaces were proposed for the Mimico GO station?
Approximately 112, I believe.
Okay, and how many current parking spaces are how many are going to be lost?
So the proposal includes a total of 514 within 3 parking garages and the GO station would provide for over 100. Right now, there's a surface parking lot that I believe has about 70 parking spaces on site.
But that's going to be lost, correct?
Yes, that would be lost.
Okay. And just last question, who's responsible, oh, sorry, second last, so who's responsible for parking on this site, on the GO station site? The city or the province?
Well, it would be a combination of what Van Dyke is required to provide as part of the development,
Yeah,
as well as
GO station parking lots are the responsibility of the province, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And one last question to Mr. Cresswell. This word MZO keeps coming up. Could you maybe just explain what that is in layman's terms?
Sure thing. Thank you very much, Councillor. Yeah, the Minister's zoning order is right under the Planning Act from the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to effectively, for want of a better term, override municipal land use planning and implement a zoning bylaw that the municipality basically has to implement. And the notion of the minister's zoning order, I mean, the city has seen a few of them over the last little while, is basically to, for want of a better term, expedite development.
So this would take it out of the community's hands for any consultation and really kind of takes us out of it, correct?
It depends how the province actually plays it, Councillor. For example, the minister's zoning order that was utilized for a long-term care facility at the Humber Hospital on Finch Avenue in Councillor Perutz's ward, the province actually approached us about how to frame the minister's zoning order to make it work. So in instances where there's communications between the municipality and the province, we can help frame the minister's zoning orders. In other instances, the ministry, for example, you've seen the press recently about the three that came last Friday downtown, which were not, the city was not advised the province was using a minister's zoning order in those locations.
Great, those are my questions. Thank you, Mr. Cresswell. Any further questions? Speakers? I will speak, and I'm going to be moving, we send this to council without recommendations. This is a pretty important site, the Mimico Triangle down there. We have a lot of development in the hop down there, and a lot of pedestrians will be traveling through, a lot of cars coming through, and it's just been difficult. You know, this is the first transitory development in the city. We want to make sure we get it right. I know planning wants to get it right with the province. The province has reached out to me through the Premier's office on this one, and they weren't happy with recommendation number 6, but I think they are willing to sit down and talk to planning. Otherwise, I'll be moving number 6 at council, but I want to give them the opportunity to sit down, we get this developer to the table. We've had a few problems from the get-go talking to Metrolink. There's 2 different divisions of Metrolink who were talking to each other, so we had to get the Premier's office involved to get them together, which we did, but I think you heard Mr. Cresswell's statements. If we all sit down at this table, we could work it out. So with that, I want to move it to council recommendation, hoping that we can get everybody to sit down and talk about this. Is a very important site, a lot of density going in a very short time, and I think it's important that we give the province an opportunity to get this developer to the table, city planning, and have all the faith in our city planners to sit down with the other 2 parties and make this a successful first TOD in the city. So with that, I ask for your support. Any further speakers? Councillor Nunziata?
I'd just like to ask a question to the mover.
Yeah.
So if you're going to delete recommendation 6 at council, why don't you do that now rather than go to council without recommendation?
No, Councillor, I'd just like to leave it the way it is. I'll just send everything down there, leave it open. I have a lot of faith in Mr. Cresswell and his team, and I think even downtown planning is involved in this, so it's pretty important to everybody. So I'd rather just send it all down, leave it open, and let that discussion take place. But I have no problem moving these recommendations to council. But the province did reach out to me in the last couple of days, and I think the local MPP and MPP Surma reached out to me also. So I want to give them the opportunity to sit down planning and get everybody to the table. And I think I'll move everything down there, but we'll see how those talks go. So I think I'd just rather send it without recommendations and move it down there. Thank you, though. Any further questions,
Well,
speakers?
If I can just make a comment, the chair.
Councilor Nunziata to speak.
Yes, I do support your comments and I support your recommendation. And, you know, I think that what we need to look at and where there's improved transit in the city, we do have intensification in these areas and get good development. I have a few in my ward as well. So I do support what your intent is. And, you know, on your motion that you're moving it to council without recommendation. But I just want to make it very clear, I do support your comments and support the province's intent as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nunziata. Seeing no further speakers, we move on the screen, Nancy, or are we just good with send to council recommendations? Would you have it written out? Nancy's motion has to go on the screen. I can just move it out. Oh, is it there? Oh, you blacked it. Yeah, the item be forwarded to City Council without recommendations. All in favor, can I ask for a recorded vote, please?
If you, when I call your name, can you please indicate how you're voting? Councillor Perruzza. If you could unmute yourself and let us know if you are in favor or opposed.
I did. You can't hear me? Hello?
We hear you now.
In favor.
Councillor Holliday.
In favor.
Councillor Grimes.
In favor?
Councillor Ford.
In favor.
Councillor Nunziata.
In favor.
That motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. So our next item is, bear with me.
We have item 7 next on the agenda.
Yeah, just get there, number 7. One-way street designation, Market Garden Muse in my ward. I have no questions of staff. Are there any questions of staff? No. Bear with me here. Okay, 7 here. Okay, so no questions, staff, so I'll just speak. I would like to move the recommendations. Back in 2018, I had an on-site meeting with about 20 residents on the street where a lot of people are cutting through to go to Costco. There was a petition submitted, 50 of the 73 households in this townhouse complex were asking for this one-way street. We delivered flyers up and down the street. There has been some communication lately, kind of a split, but we did knock on doors there and asking for the one-way, so I'll be moving that recommendation. And that's it. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, next item, 10, right, Nancy?
Item 10, correct.
Yeah. Okay, and again, number 10, so questions of staff? We have staff on the line?
There is transportation staff online.
Okay. So, staff's on. So there's been a lot of development here. This is the old beer store site down in the old Arvin Meter site. Big townhouse complex has gone in here. There's another one scheduled right next door to it. A lot of parking on the street. Is that correct? Bruce there?
Hey, Councillor Bruce Blake here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Bruce. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of parking.
Yeah, that's correct, Councillor. There is a lot of parking generated by the new development in the area.
So people are just kind of parking anywhere all over those streets, and that development is supposed to contain this parking underground, correct?
Yes, underground parking's been provided for the development.
Okay. So I know your recommendation number one is not to put an always stop control there. Can you tell me why that's not supported? Always stop control is a pretty busy intersection there.
Yeah, we've got a very good split between the two roads. It just doesn't have the volume there just yet, based on our study conducted last year to warrant an all-way stop. There's some speculation that in the future it will, but when we did our study back in November 2019, it didn't meet the warrants.
So that road, East Park Gardens, that'll kind of go into the new development, which is now being graded right now. So that'll head into there. So we expect that to get busier.
Yes, with that opening of that development to the east, yeah, we anticipate the volume to increase.
So I disagreed. That wouldn't be in the world, would it? Which I very rarely do. You answer that. So those are my questions. Any further questions of staff? To speak, I will just speak very quickly. More development on Lakeshore, major Minto townhouse development. I have a motion. Sorry, Nancy, we put the motion on the screen. Etobicoke Community Council approve the installation of an always stop control at the intersection of Long Branch Avenue, Eastwood Park Gardens. I very, very rarely go against staff recommendations. This one here, we have the townhouse development is kind of booming. We had a deal with the beer store to move up to Lakeshore for a better urban feel to the development, which was great to work with the beer store to make that happen. But there's some more commercial retail in there. They have to travel in there to get to the back, to get to that parking. As I said, next door, there's another big application town. So it's just going to mirror what's happening there now. It's a pretty busy area, and the residents have been asking me for this. So again, I very rarely go against staff on this one, but I think you heard Mr. Clayton say this will probably be warranted in the future. So I'm going to move that now, and I ask for your support. And I'm sure Councillor Holliday is going to ask for a recorded vote. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, you guessed correctly.
Okay, recorded vote.
When I call your name, please indicate how you're voting for the motion before you. Councillor Nunziata.
I didn't hear Francis. Okay.
If you could kindly unmute yourself.
In favor?
Thank you. Councillor Ford.
In favor.
Councillor Grimes.
In favor.
Councillor Holliday.
Opposed.
Councillor Perruzza.
Councillor Perruzza. He's on the phone.
Councillor
Councillor
Perruzza,
Perruzza?
how do you vote?
He's indisposed. He's on the phone. So just Councillor Perruzza. Oh, so what do we do, Nancy? Just
So
absent?
since he's not voting, he'll be recorded in the negative. That motion carries 3, 4, and 2 against. On the item as amended,
Sorry. Was there 2 against?
Councillor Holliday voted against, and Councillor Perruzza is being recorded against.
No, Nick, he didn't vote. No.
He is present and not voting. He will be recorded in the negative.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so that carries anyways, right?
It does carry. So on the item as amended now?
Item as amended. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And I believe that is it, correct?
You've completed the agenda. Oh, actually, confirmatory bills,
With the
please.
bills?
We will put the motions on the screen.
That the Etobicoke Community Council pass and declare as bylaw 918 prepared for the November 3rd, 2020 meeting 19 of the Community Council. All in favor? Opposed? Carried? the Etobicoke Community Council pass and declare as bylaw by confirmatory bill to confirm the legislative proceedings of the Etobicoke Community Council acting under delegated authority at meeting 19 on November 3rd, 2020. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. That's it, right?
The business of the
Nancy, we're
meeting,
good?
the business of the meeting is completed, yes.
Motion adjourned by Councillor Holiday. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Thanks, Nancy.